Nuevamente, si ustedes han estado siguiéndonos en las redes sociales, han visto, no ha habido una sola oferta, ni un solo early bird que hemos hecho para este evento del Lead Summit. El día de hoy, por 24 horas, les vamos a dar un 20% de descuento en los boletos. Si me pueden poner aquí, por favor, el QR, ahí, usted lo voy a dejar aquí arriba tantito para que todos tengan la oportunidad. Dejen de escribir porque eso significa que no están tomando foto. Agarren ese QR, métanse y aprovechen la oportunidad para ahorita mismo ya tomar un paso de invertir en tu vida para que te lleve al siguiente nivel en tu éxito. All right. ¿Están listos? Quiero presentarles a nuestro siguiente orador. ¿Están listos para adivinar quién es nuestro siguiente orador? Yo voy a hacer esto divertido. Vamos a adivinarlos a todos y vamos a ver si pueden adivinar quién es. Todos agarraron el 20% de descuento, ¿verdad? No, todavía no. Juan Berequen ya lo agarró. Está comprando sus boletos aún que va a estar en la plataforma. Nuestro siguiente orador es un coach, emprendedor, autor bestseller. Permítanme un segundo. Autor bestseller. Es un presentador de TV y host del popular podcast The Ed Milet Show. Los dejo aquí con un video muy especial de Ed Milet. Nada más les digo una cosa. Ed quería estar con ustedes el día de hoy, con nosotros, en la sala de Mi Casa a Su Casa, el día de hoy, pero su hijo se graduaba de la universidad. Entonces, habló con nosotros y nos dijo, tengo que estar en la graduación de mi hijo, pero me comprometo a mandar un mensaje muy especial a toda mi gente que está en América Latina. Aquí les va.
Hey everybody, it's Ed Milet, and I wanted to share with you one big idea of how I lead myself better every single day. And for me, it's very easy. It's how I manage my time and how I look at time. You know, technology has changed the world, yet we still look at time the same way we did before we had all this technology. So most people have a day, they go, oh, I got a 24-hour day, or, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. is my work day. And they kind of calibrate their time and pace themselves for that long of a day. Yet, I don't think a day needs to be that long anymore because of the way time works. 30 years ago, if I wanted to write you a letter, I'd have to write something down here or type it, then get an envelope, put a stamp on it, mail it to you. A couple days later, you'd get it, open it up, you'd read it, reply back. 3 days later, now I can send you a text and we're done in 2 seconds. Yet that person gets the same amount of time in a day to get things done as I do. I should be able to get things done much quicker. When I was a kid, I wanted to write a report in school. I had to get in my car, drive to the library, open up a book, write it all down, then type it on a typewriter. Now, my kids, they just Google it, prints out the report in 2 minutes. So things are faster. We can communicate better. We ought to shrink time. We ought to compress time frames. So for me, I have 3 days in one day. I have a mini day. Mini days are 6 a.m. to noon, noon to 6 p.m., right? And then 6 p.m. to midnight. Those are 3 days in one day. So in that first day, 6 a.m. to noon, I'm trying to get as many appointments, contacts, calls, etc., fun, whatever it might be, in that day that the average person still measures in 24 hours. I measure in 6 hours. We've all had that morning. Haven't you had a morning where you go, man, I got more done this morning than I've gotten done in a week before? That's because of the way you're looking at time. And so, by the way, some days in the 24-hour day in our life, we're just having fun. We're watching Netflix and chilling. That might be one of my 3 days. But I don't look at a day as 24 hours. I look at it as 6 hours. So the reason that's important is because scarcity creates value. So because I have less time, my time is more valuable. So not every meeting's 1 hour long anymore. Some meetings are 20 minutes. I will ask people in my business and team, does this need to be 20 minutes or 30 minutes or an hour? What do we do in life? Every meeting's from 9 to 10. It's always an hour. Yet most of those meetings can be done in 15 minutes. Some meetings are 5 minutes. Some meetings don't need to be a meeting at all. They can be a voice note that we send. And so I've compressed time. The other thing that happens is accountability changes because of the way I'm looking at myself. So a really productive person At the end of a day, don't you, they kind of gather up their day and review it and make accountability and adjustments. But what if you were doing that every 6 hours? And so for me now, right around noon every day, a little alarm clock goes off and goes, what did I get done today? What am I grateful for? What do I need to review? What do I need to double down on? What do I need to do more of? What should I be celebrating? And then a new day starts at noon all the way to 6 p.m. And in there, the amount of calls, contacts, etc. that I make is calibrated in those hours. And what I have found is now I'm getting 21 days a week. So even if you're more talented than me, even if you started before me, if I get 21 days a week and you get 7, right? You stack that up over 6 months or a year or 3 years, I end up with hundreds more days than you, hundreds more chances to have accountability and review. I become more productive and I'm probably going to win. And so what I'm saying is, I think the 24-hour day concept is antiquated and old and isn't kept up with technology and our times. So I measure a day in smaller increments than 24 hours. And I've been doing this for about 20 years. And I got to tell you, it's changed everything in my life. I'm more productive. I'm happier. I have more accountability. I've made more adjustments. I've learned more simply because I've caught up to what a day ought to look like based on technology and information. And so review that for yourself. What if your day started at 6 a.m. and you ran till noon, and at noon you just reviewed? How many contacts did I make? And maybe you go, it was a great day. I'm going to cool it and have fun this second day. You can do that. But the point is, maybe you go, wow, I didn't make enough contacts. I missed this sale. I've got this thing I've got to do. And you double down from noon to 6 p.m. And then maybe from 6 p.m. to watching TV.
Listo, le pusimos pausa tantito porque veo que muchos están teniendo dificultad con su traducción y tienen que meterse a la traducción. Si ven en la parte de abajo donde tienen 3 puntitos en su Zoom, métanse ahí a los 3 puntitos y deberían de ver donde dice interpretación. Interpretación. Presionen ahí, por favor, en interpretación que sale. ¿Le pueden poner, please? ¿Que sale en interpretación? Ya la estamos escuchando a Paola. Paola está ya, escucho. ¡Súper bien! ¡Excelente! All right. Excelente. Tienen que estar en el canal que dice español. Agarren el mundito que está abajo y presionen el canal que dice español. ¿Sí? Perfecto. Interpretación, español, ahí escuchan. Cuando regresemos al idioma normal, le ponen donde dice original audio, idioma original, y se regresan conmigo. ¿Ok? Regresamos al video. Si le regresan al video un poquito, por favor, para que todos puedan escuchar a Ed.
Big idea of how I lead myself better every single day. And for me, it's very easy. It's how I manage my time and how I look at time. You know, technology has changed the world, yet we still look at time the same way we did before we had all this technology. So most people have a day, they go, oh, I got a 24-hour day, or, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. is my work day. And they kind of calibrate their time and pace themselves for that long of a day. Yet, I don't think a day needs to be that long anymore because of the way time works. 30 years ago, if I wanted to write you a letter, I'd have to write something down here or type it, then get an envelope, put a stamp on it, mail it to you. A couple days later, you'd get it, open it up, you'd read it, reply back. 3 days later, now I can send you a text and we're done in 2 seconds. Yet that person gets the same amount of time in a day to get things done as I do. I should be able to get things done much quicker. When I was a kid, I wanted to write a report in school. I had to get in my car, drive to the library, open up a book, write it all down, then type it on a typewriter. Now, my kids, they just Google it, prints out the report in 2 minutes. So things are faster. We can communicate better. We ought to shrink time. We ought to compress time frames. So for me, I have 3 days in one day. I have a mini day. Mini days are 6 a.m. to noon, noon to 6 p.m., right? And then 6 p.m. to midnight. Those are 3 days in one day. So in that first day, 6 a.m. to noon, I'm trying to get as many appointments, contacts, calls, etc., fun, whatever it might be, in that day that the average person still measures in 24 hours. I measure in 6 hours. We've all had that morning. Haven't you had a morning where you go, man, I got more done this morning than I've gotten done in a week before? That's because of the way you're looking at time. And so, by the way, some days in the 24-hour day in our life, we're just having fun. We're watching Netflix and chilling. That might be one of my 3 days. But I don't look at a day as 24 hours. I look at it as 6 hours. So the reason that's important is because scarcity creates value. So because I have less time, my time is more valuable. So not every meeting's 1 hour long anymore. Some meetings are 20 minutes. I will ask people in my business and team, does this need to be 20 minutes or 30 minutes or an hour? What do we do in life? Every meeting's from 9 to 10. It's always an hour. Yet, most of those meetings can be done in 15 minutes. Some meetings are 5 minutes. Some meetings don't need to be a meeting at all. They can be a voice note that we send. And so I've compressed time. The other thing that happens is accountability changes because of the way I'm looking at myself. So a really productive person at the end of a day, don't you? They kind of gather up their day and review it and make accountability and adjustments. But what if you were doing that every 6 hours? And so for me now, right around noon every day, a little alarm clock goes off and goes, what did I get done today? What am I grateful for? What do I need to review? What do I need to double down on? What do I need to do more of? What should I be celebrating? And then a new day starts at noon all the way to 6 p.m. And in there, the amount of calls, contacts, etc. that I make is calibrated in those hours. And what I have found is now I'm getting 21 days a week. So even if you're more talented than me, even if you started before me, if I get 21 days a week and you get 7, right? You stack that up over 6 months or a year or 3 years, I end up with hundreds more days than you, hundreds more chances to have accountability and review. I become more productive and I'm probably going to win. And so what I'm saying is, I think the 24-hour day concept is antiquated and old and isn't kept up with technology and our times. So I measure a day in smaller increments than 24 hours. And I've been doing this for about 20 years. And I got to tell you, it's changed everything in my life. I'm more productive. I'm happier. I have more accountability. I've made more adjustments. I've learned more simply because I've caught up to what a day ought to look like based on technology and information. And so review that for yourself. What if your day started at 6 a.m. and you ran till noon, and at noon you just reviewed? How many contacts did I make? And maybe you go, it was a great day. I'm going to cool it and have fun this second day. You can do that. But the point is, maybe you go, wow, I didn't make enough contacts. I missed this sale. I've got this thing I've got to do. And you double down from noon to 6 p.m. And then maybe from 6 p.m. to watching TV and getting ready for bed or returning emails, whatever it is. You can have fun in all these days. You can have your faith, your family. But to measure things in the same increment of time somebody did in 1970 is pretty crazy. And it's even crazier to measure it in the same amount of time someone did in 1770, right? Technology's improved. The way we process time, the way we value and look at time should change. And so not all my meetings are an hour. In fact, most of them aren't, right? Most of them can be done in 30 minutes or 20 minutes or 5 minutes. And that way you can be more productive. So my point is, the hack for me, the skill that I use is my ability to look at time differently than most people. And as a result of that, by the time I was 50 years old, I had really lived 2 or 3 lives full of business and life and fun because the way I looked at my day was different than most people look at their day. And so I think it's a very sophisticated, very, interesting topic, the way that we look at time. At a minimum, start to ask yourself, how much would it serve you that if every day around noon a little clock went off in your head and you just reviewed where you're at and doubled down your efforts again, and then maybe around 6 p.m. you looked at it again. Or maybe just the one strategy of not every meeting needs to be an hour. Start to ask people, can this be 20 minutes? Can it be 30 minutes? Can it be 40 minutes? Can it be 5 minutes? And that way you can get more done in a shorter period of time, which leaves more time for family, for your faith, for your fitness. And by the way, in my 6 a.m. to noon day, one of those hours is a workout, just like it would be in my 24-hour day, right? So I'm still getting in all of those other things, but it's the way that I look and process time, the way that I think about time. It's going to get you more life. You can get 21 days in a week. Here's another benefit to looking at your time differently. Perception. See, what is scarce or there's less of is perceived as more valuable by other people. That's why a diamond is perceived to be more valuable than this piece of paper because there's fewer of them. It's more scarce. And all of a sudden, when you start to be busier, see, there's a rhythm to success. And when someone's busy, they walk faster, they talk faster, they're more attractive. People want to do business with them. They perceive them as valuable, right? And so when people know my meetings aren't all an hour, they're 20 minutes, they're 30 minutes, they get right to the point and you become valuable because your time is more scarce. One of the mistakes a lot of business people, a lot of entrepreneurs make is they just, when are you available? Whenever you want. How long the meeting? As long as it takes. That doesn't come across as very valuable or very important. But if somebody says, hey, I've got only a half an hour, let's get the most out of this that we possibly can. You know what someone does? They lean in and they go, okay. And your perceived value goes up when time is more scarce. And so if none of the time management strategies worked for you at all, just the positioning and the posturing of being a busy person makes you more valuable and more attractive, and more people will want to do business with you, do life with you, et cetera, et cetera. So value is a big part of understanding time. When you understand how valuable your time is, other people understand how valuable you are. And when you don't value your time or have a perception of time that's accurate, people will have an inaccurate perception of you. And so one of the fastest ways to increase your own value, your own stature, your ability to influence and persuade is be busier and have less time for people. And I know that's not counterintuitive, but I can do it in an effective way. I'll say, listen, I only have 30 minutes and you're very important to me. So I want to make sure that I'm totally focused and that you are as well. What's your outcome for this 30 minutes? What are you hoping to get out of it with me? And then they tell me, well, let's get that done then. Let's go. And all of a sudden, can you just even tell by how I'm saying this? We appear to be more focused. We appear to be more valuable. I'm going to tell you, value is a major part of this, and focus is. When you are that obsessed and focused on time, your focus at the task at hand, how other people focus on you, your ability to process information and make decisions becomes so much more effective simply because what you have is scarce, which is your time. Think about the most successful people that you know. They're in a little bit of a hurry, aren't they? They're not easy to get meetings with. And when you get them, you want to make sure you make it productive because their time is so valuable and you may not get more of it. Be that person. That'll help you a great deal. So that would be my recommendation. I can't wait to be with all of you. God bless you. Max out.
I don't see myself, no me veo, estoy por ahí. Estoy por ahí, ¿me ven? ¿Me ven? Pueden poner en el chat si me ven porque yo no me veo. ¡Ahí estoy! Muy bien. ¡Listo! ¿Cómo les pareció a Ed Mylett? Es un líder espectacular. Tenemos muchísimas claves prácticas que podemos aprender de él, implementar en nuestra vida y comenzar ese camino del éxito. Vámonos directo con mi siguiente invitado. ¿Quieren saber quién es el siguiente? Pónganme aquí. ¿Quieren saber? Oigan, no se les olvide, ¿me pueden poner el QR, porfa, para que la gente pueda volver a entrar? Mientras les explico mi siguiente orador, quiero que por favor agarren el QR y se metan a comprar sus boletos de Monterrey y de Guadalajara. Y les voy a decir una sorpresa para que nadie se vaya a bajar ahorita de la llamada. Dos cosas importantes. El primero es que vamos a hablar del pitch-off y de cómo ganar tu premio de 10,000, 5,000 o 3,000 dólares. Y segundo, tengo un invitado que tiene una sorpresa para ustedes. Para todos los que hoy y en las próximas 24 horas compren boletos para Monterrey o Guadalajara, no solo se van a llevar el 20% de descuento, pero hay otra sorpresita más que les voy a otorgar. Sí, entonces, listos, agarren ese QR y vámonos a explicar a mi siguiente orador. Híjole, este está difícil porque en su pura explicación ya van a saber quién es. Es la referencia de liderazgo en América Latina. Es nuestro host del mejor podcast de liderazgo que existe en español. Es nuestro presidente de Maxwell Leadership y es mi papá. Así es mi papá, claro que sí. Quiero presentarles a Juan Berequen, que viene a compartir con nosotros, pero vamos a hacer esto un poquito diferente. Si me ponen a Juan en pantalla, por favor. ¿Me ponen audio? Hello, JB.
Hello.
Quiero que sepan que estoy sumamente impresionada que Juan logró poner un fondo virtual en su Zoom. Aplausos, aplausos para él, por favor.
La verdad, tu mamá lo puso.
No tengo la más mínima duda. Juan, gracias por tomarte el tiempo de estar aquí. Estamos compartiendo con todos los que están aquí conectados, que tenemos más de 2,000 personas que están conectados el día de hoy, que esperamos que cada uno de ellos esté en el Lead Summit a final de este mes. Pero el día de hoy vamos a hacer una dinámica. Yo tengo unas preguntas que preguntarte acerca de tu tiempo con nosotros en el Lead Summit. ahí voy, estoy agarrando mis
Estoy
preguntas.
listo.
Espérame
Bueno,
tantito.
mientras tú te organizas, Susi, deja de decir algo del Lead Summit, tanto de Monterrey como Saltillo, digo, como Guadalajara. Monterrey, pues, radico en Saltillo y Monterrey está a la vuelta, así que tengo un amor increíble para Monterrey. Los regios, hemos estado en el norte de México por más de 22 años, así que quiero ver mis amigos de Monterrey. Ahora, no dejando atrás a Guadalajara, porque nosotros radicamos en Guadalajara en los años 90 y nos encanta. Incluso tu hermana mayor nació en Guadalajara, es tapatía. Así que los tapatillos y los regios los quiero ver. Mira, Susi, va a ser una conferencia espectacular. Tengo el privilegio de trabajar con John 25 años. Y no hay. Mira, yo he volado a otros países para estar con John. Yo he volado, yo he pagado ya ahora no pago, pero yo había pagado para poder estar en mentoría de John. John, mira, no solamente es el, entre comillas, gurú de liderazgo, pero John es un hombre espectacular. Lo que yo aquí tengo 3 libros suyos, 16 leyes de comunicación, tengo cómo ganarse a la gente. Oye, esos fondos como que no me gusta. Y tengo los 5 niveles de liderazgo. A ver, ¿cómo se hace eso? Mira, yo, yo consumo el contenido de John, pero cuando tú lees un libro de John, es como si él estuviera frente a ti hablándote. Y en la conferencia, él va a estar ahí con nosotros. Y quiero decir algo de una conferencia. Mientras tú te preparas, porque yo no sé.
Estoy preparada. Nací
Bueno.
preparada.
Mira, yo no me pierdo de conferencias. Está bien lo virtual. Está súper bien poder estar en nuestra sala y conectarnos en diferentes ambientes, pero no hay nada como estar en el lugar con personas como Oso, como John, como Pete, como Ed, como contigo, Susie. No hay cosa igual como estar ahí porque hay una transferencia. El liderazgo se capta más de lo que se aprende. O sea, se capta. Y tú puedes captar el liderazgo estando en el lugar donde hay esos líderes. Entonces, yo no me pierdo de estar en lugares donde hay grandes líderes y quiero animar a todo el mundo que está con nosotros que esté con nosotros en vivo en Guadalajara y en Monterrey. Bueno, listo.
Listo, para que sepas el secreto del libro es que lo pongas en tu pecho porque es donde tienes el color black. Gracias, listo. ¿Alguien lo puso en el chat? ¿Tomo 0 crédito?
Mira,
¿Alguien lo puso
hasta
en el
yo
chat?
lo firmo.
All right,
Y hasta este libro está dedicado a nosotros, Susi, de yo.
Sí, yo no sé cómo entré a ese libro, pero me siento honrada. JB, tenemos varias preguntas. La primera pregunta, tú vas a hablar en el evento y tu enfoque va a ser desarrollándote a ti mismo. ¿Por qué crees que eso es importante?
Hay muchas personas que quieren liderar a otros, porque para lograr grandes cosas, obviamente tenemos que liderar a otros. En la primera ley de John, en las 21 leyes irrefutables de liderazgo, es la ley de las 17 leyes de trabajo en equipo, es la ley de la trascendencia, o sea, nosotros necesitamos a otros para lograr cosas grandes. Pero si no nos lideramos a nosotros mismos, no nos van a seguir. Podemos saber cómo liderar a otros, pero si no nos estamos liderando bien a nosotros mismos, en poco tiempo la gente se da cuenta y no nos siguen. Entonces, Susi, clave para poder hacer algo grande es liderarnos a nosotros mismos primero y entonces las personas nos seguirán. Es la ley de la influencia.
Me encanta, JB. Aprender a liderarnos a nosotros mismos, aprender a liderar a otros y aprender a hacer de liderazgo un negocio es exactamente lo que vamos a estar hablando en Monterrey y Guadalajara. Todos los que vamos a tomar un paso, invertir en nosotros mismos, ir al evento de Monterrey y Guadalajara, queremos algo que nos ayude a empezar a caminar en ese camino del éxito. Háblanos un poquito más del desarrollo y háblanos de cómo el éxito y el desarrollo van juntos.
Susi, yo diría que, bueno, yo voy a compartir de 3 secretos, 3 claves para que uno se desarrolle a sí mismo. Necesita 3 elementos principales en su vida. Hace 40 años atrás, yo comencé a implementar esas 3 cosas. Y ya 40 años después, miro hacia atrás y yo digo, qué bueno, porque lo aprendí de otro. Yo no lo inventé, lo aprendí de otro y lo puse en práctica. Y eso es lo que vamos a hablar en el evento. Ahora, cuando nosotros nos lideramos a nosotros mismos bien, entonces la probabilidad de lograr el éxito en nuestras vidas es sumamente alto, pero sumamente alto. John Maxwell dice que la única garantía que uno tiene que su mañana será mejor que su día de hoy es su propio desarrollo. O sea, nuestro futuro está en nuestras manos. Yo no lo sabía, pero 40 años atrás, por situaciones que en la conferencia yo voy a hablar, fui presionado, incluso obligado a tomar ciertas decisiones para mi desarrollo. Si no, fracaso como en mi matrimonio, fracaso en familia, fracaso en perseguir mi propósito, pues era lo que iba a suceder. Entonces comencé a implementar esos 3 secretos que voy a compartir en la conferencia. Y el día de hoy, miro atrás y yo digo, impresionante. Ahora, el desarrollo de nosotros mismos es lo que nos posiciona para poder tener éxito en nuestras vidas. Y yo sé que todo el mundo que está en la llamada hoy están con nosotros y van a ir al evento porque están persiguiendo tener éxito en sus vidas. Y de eso vamos a hablar.
Ahorita que estabas hablando, hablas de esas personas que van a tomar ese paso, pero hay muchas personas que tienen conflicto con invertir en ellos mismos. ¿Cómo pudieras tú explicar el beneficio o la solución a la problemática de si tú tomas un paso e inviertes en ti mismo?
Wow. Mire, yo no sé cuáles palabras usar para tratar de convencer a una persona a apostar sobre su propia vida. O sea, muchas personas no invierten en sí mismo porque no se valoran. Y yo quiero, mira, hay 2,000 personas en la llamada y yo quiero mirar a mi cámara y quiero decir a cada uno de estos 2,000, mírame a los ojos, quiero decirte, tú eres una persona de valor, tú tienes un gran propósito, tú naciste para cumplir una misión. No te menosprecies, no te achiques. Tú eres valioso y la forma que vas a lograr ese valor, a que ese valor ayude a otros, es desarrollándote. Así que te animo a hacer una inversión. Mira, invierte en libros, invierte en conferencias, invierte en contenido que te va a ayudar a crecer en tu vida. Y si, ojo, hay algo que yo, eso, mira, yo estoy ya preparando mi speech porque yo escuché a Oso y me apasionó y dije, $10,000. Yo quiero desarrollar mi speech, pero mira, aparte de eso, yo quiero decir que tenemos una herramienta impresionante que no tiene ningún costo. Y es un podcast, es el Maxwell Leadership Podcast por su amigo Juan Beriken. Si no lo han escuchado, hay más de 250 episodios que les está esperando y pueden ingresar y pueden comenzar a escuchar y van a escuchar enseñanza práctica para ayudar en su desarrollo personal. Susi, de eso se trata mi vida, de eso se trata mi misión, de eso se trata el podcast y de eso se trata lo que voy a compartir con mis amigos en Guadalajara y en Monterrey. Así que los espero.
¡Qué emoción! Gracias, Juan. Gracias por compartir con nosotros. Estamos muy emocionados de verlos a todos en esos dos eventos. All right, vámonos. Hay muchas personas que están aquí en el chat. A ver, pongan en el chat si están despiertos, por favor. Si están despiertos, activos, listos para el orador que viene. Vamos a entrar a hablar de cómo hacer de liderazgo un negocio. Algunos han estado preguntando, ¿cuándo vamos a hablar de monetizar? Ahorita es el momento, señores. Entonces, ustedes que estuvieron hasta el final van a aprender cómo monetizar. ¿Están listos? Vamos a presentar a nuestro siguiente invitado, un experto. A ver, espérense porque tienen que adivinar. Que por cierto, el siguiente invitado habla inglés. Entonces, para los nuevos que están aquí, por favor, en la partecita de abajo, 3 puntitos, van a ver donde dice interpretación, lo presionan, ponen español y van a poder escuchar todo. Cualquier cosa lo ponen en el chat y resolvemos. All right, el siguiente invitado, experto en impulsar negocios desde el escenario. Más de 25,000 foros globales y generando más de 10 millones de dólares en menos de 3 años. Nuestro invitado el día de hoy es Pete Vargas. Pete, bienvenido a Maxwell Leadership Webinar. Welcome, Pete. It's all yours.
Thank you, Susie. I appreciate it. Hey, everybody. I am so glad to be here. And I promise I'm just going to take a few minutes tonight. And I am honored to be here. It's one of my first times to be able to speak in front of this group, obviously. But I want to share with you, I'm going to share a few things back here. And I want to share with you just in a few minutes of how you can build a business. How you can build a business. I'm just curious in the chat, how many of you have a business? If you have a business, just say have a business. And how many of you want to build a business? Would you just put that in the chat? I want to build a business. I have or I want. I'm just curious because you give me 15 minutes and I'm going to help your business, whether you're a business that's just getting started and has an idea or you're a successful business. I'm going to make sure that we do that. And I just want you to know I can see all of your faces, but there's several of you that don't have your cameras on. I want to be able to see you tonight just for a few minutes. I promise these next 15 minutes will be so profound that you will thank me for just the wisdom that I feel like I want to give to you tonight. And so I'm honored to be here. I'm so thankful to JV and Susie for inviting me. I love what John Maxwell is all about. He's all about helping you lead yourself. Do you know the biggest enemy to me and to you? Can I tell you the biggest enemy to me and you? Take a guess in the chat if you think. Thank you, Paula, for turning your camera on. I can see Paula now. But do you know what the biggest enemy is? It's this. The biggest reason why I couldn't build a business is because I came from a family that never made more than $30,000 a year. And so I love that John Maxwell and Maxwell leadership starts by leading yourself. But then the second thing that has been important and talked about today, and you heard JV talk about it, is leading others. And that's super important. I've got family upstairs. I can hear my kids running around. I hear their feet. But dad's job is to lead them. I'm supposed to lead people in my life. And I know a lot of people have spoken about that, but the one I want to speak about is I want to speak about how do you get paid to lead others? How many of you want to get paid or get paid a lot more than you're making right now? Just put that in the chat. I'm just curious about that. How many of you want to be able to do that and get paid to lead others? That's what I'm going to focus on just for a few minutes tonight. Just for a few minutes tonight. And so let me tell you something about me that's super important to me. I am the first entrepreneur in my family. You see, who you see here on the screen is actually my grandma and my grandpa, who are both from Mexico. They're both from Mexico. In a few weeks, my grandma and grandpa would be so proud of me. This is Oralia Vargas, and this is Pedro Vargas Sr. And they are who I grew up with. When my dad was really bad to me as a little boy, my grandparents took me in and they raised me. And they grew up in Mexico in the fields picking cotton. They told me all the stories, but my grandmother would always tell me, "Mijo, you will be the first entrepreneur. Mijo, you will be successful one day." You see, my family was everything to me. These are my aunts and uncles. My dad was one of 8 kids, and they didn't grow up in Mexico. The kids didn't, but my grandparents did. And this is my dad right here. My dad and me as a little boy growing up. But this is what I want you to know about my grandparents. My grandparents worked so hard in the fields. They worked so hard to provide for me. They worked so hard, but we came from poverty. We didn't come from money. We didn't come from anything. There was no entrepreneurs in my family. I'm curious how many of you have entrepreneurs in your family, or you the first? But I became the first entrepreneur in my family. And I'm so proud of that, because not only did I become the first entrepreneur in my family, I've been able to build 5 multi-million-dollar companies. 5 multi-million-dollar companies. And all 5 of them have boiled down to 4 things. If you can get these 4 things right, you can build the company of your dreams, or you can help the company that you're currently in. You want to know how you get more valuable in your company? Help that company grow. So whether you're wanting to build your own company or you're in a company, I want to show you the 4 things that me, who came from nothing and now cannot believe that I've built 5 multi-million-dollar companies. And I haven't just built 5 multi-million-dollar companies. I've worked with some of the biggest names. Anybody recognize anybody? And I know a lot of these people are from the States. But I don't know if you recognize anybody up there, but all of those people are one-on-one clients of ours. And these 4 things, I believe that every business owner needs in order to build a business. And so here those 4 are. And I'm going to tell you what those 4 are, but I'm going to focus on number 2. I am honored on May 29th and May 31st. It will be the first time in my life that I've ever spoken in Mexico. And my family is fluent in Spanish. And you might be like, well, why aren't you? Well, it's because my mom is white. And all my mom and dad ever did speaking to me growing up was English. I know that's an excuse, and I know that I could change that. But I want to tell you what, my grandparents would be so proud of the fact that on May 29th, I'm going to be in Monterrey. On May 31st, I'm going to be in Guadalajara. And I have always said no to every engagement. But when John Maxwell asks you, and JV and Susie ask you to be a part of it, like, it's a no-brainer. And so these 4 things, I'm going to focus on one of them tonight. But on May 29th and May 31st, I'm going to focus on all 4. And here's my promise to you. I promise you that my talk alone, and all of the talks are going to be amazing. And I got a little message from Margarita. I asked Margarita to record a little message, and I'm going to share that with you here in just a second. But I'm telling you, my talk alone, I promise you, will be worth the price of the ticket. it will be worth the price of the ticket. So let me tell you these. The first thing that I want you to know is that you have to have clarity on the problem you want to solve and who you want to serve. All I'm going to say to that tonight are there three major problems that every person in this world face. They either want to be better in their health, they want to be better in their wealth, or they want to be better in their relationships. Write that down and put that in the chat. They want to be better in their health, better in their wealth, better in their relationships. Well, if you can help them in those areas, you will get paid. The second thing is becoming a world-class communicator, and that's where I'm going to live for just a second tonight. The third thing that you want to have are products and services. How many of you today have products and services that you are selling out in the market? If you're selling products and services, just say I'm selling today. Today, how many of you are actually selling products and services today? And how many of you aren't, but you're like, I want to? Do you realize that there's 17 products and services that you could be selling? And I'm going to cover all 17 of those in Guadalajara and Monterrey. And one of the guys who owns one of my 5 companies today, one of my business partners is Grant Cardone. Grant Cardone and I are 50-50 business partners in one company. And one of the things that blows me away is Grant Cardone has all 17 of those. And I'll talk about that in Guadalajara. And then the fourth thing that every business has to have is sales and marketing. And I'm going to teach you in Guadalajara and Monterrey the number one way to have more customers coming into your world than you've ever had before. I'm going to teach you the number one way. But today, where I want to live just for a few minutes, and I know a few weeks ago that Susie delivered an incredible webinar on communication, but this is what I believe. Grant Cardone told me the greatest skill set that any person on this planet needs to have is to be a world-class communicator. A world-class communicator. That's the number one skill set that you want to be able to have. So I want to give you a simple framework tonight that will help you pitch your products and services out in the market. And then I'm going to give several of you, how many of you would love to pitch your business? How many of you would love to pitch your business if you knew that there were $10,000 on the line or $5,000 on the line or $2,500 on the line? How many of you think you could pitch your business to me tonight and I would say, oh my gosh, I want to invest in that person's business? How many of you? How many of you feel like you would be ready to pitch your business tonight? Be honest. I would or I wouldn't. I would love for everybody to tell me, do you think you could pitch your business tonight and be successful? If I told you I had $10,000 and I'm about to have $10,000 here in a minute, and I said, pitch your business to me, could you pitch it to me? And would I invest after I heard you speak? Write this down. No website, no promotional material, no anything will convince me to buy from you or invest in you more than your words. More than your words. And so I want to give you the simple framework, the simple framework that will let you pitch somebody one-on-one, or will let you pitch somebody 1 to 100 or 1 to thousands like we have tonight. If you can get this down, you will be able to grow the business of your dreams. I'm just curious in the chat, what does the business of your dreams look like in the next 12 months? Like, how much, I want to see from everybody, how much do you want to make in your business in the next 12 months? Would everybody write that in the chat for me? Because I'm about to give you a framework that's going to let you do that. And I know, I want to know, like, actually $100,000. Thank you, Esteban. $50,000. Thank you, Caroline. $500,000. Thank you, Lisa. Somebody said $8 million. 100,000. And please excuse me if I'm speaking in euros, American, pesos, but I want to know what the business of your dreams looks like, because I'm going to give you one unbelievable tool. Remember, in Guadalajara and Monterrey, I'll talk about all four, but if I talked about all four, I might put you to sleep tonight. And I want to get done so Susie can come wrap this up powerfully. And so this is the framework right here. Like everybody put it. I want all thousands of you to tell me what the business of your dream looks like. $1 million. My uncle Ruben Vargas, he was the one that made the most money in my family. My grandmother always told me, mijo. She would always say mijo, and she would always pray over me in Spanish all of the time. I had no idea what she was saying, but I knew that it was powerful. And she said, mijo, you're going to make $100,000 one day. You're going to make $100,000, mijo, one day. My grandmother passed away a decade before she got to see me build my first $1 million company. But she would be so proud of me today, looking down from heaven, that her grandson has built 5. And her grandson became the first one in his family to start many people becoming entrepreneurs. How did I build those 5? I understood this. The first part of world-class communication is people want you to speak to their hearts. They don't care about anything you know until they know about how much you care. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Maya Angelou said, people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. There's people in my life today, the way that they make me feel is the reason why I'll ride or die with them all day long. All day long. And so how do you do this? I'm going to give you one little clue. People are here and they want to know that you know what it's like to walk in their shoes, what they're wrestling through, what they're going through. But they also want to know that you can take them to a place that they desire to go in their business, in their health, in their marriage, as they're parenting, in their leadership. They want to know that you can take them to a place that they want to go. And so the greatest way to grab somebody's heart is to understand and empathize with where they're at, but understand that you can help them, take them to a place where they desire to go. That is the first part of world-class communication. The second part is, now that there is this gap, you see the gap in between my two hands? If you can see the gap in between my two hands, in the chat, write the word gap. Can you see the gap? Now, when you communicate to them, write the word gap. Now, when you communicate to them, help them, teach them how to close the gap. Teach them how you can help them close the gap. Because when you can close the gap, when you can speak to them and say, I know you're here and I know you want to go here, and if you will do this, this, and this, it will take you to here. Now all of a sudden they're like, yes. Not only do they know me and understand me, they're pretty dang smart too. So the second part of world-class communication is closing the gap. The third part is a call to action. Get them a quick win. Help them get a quick win in their life. When you can get them a quick win in their life, they will buy from you, they will invest in you, they will do anything, because now all of a sudden they're like, oh my gosh, I'm winning. Help people win. I think my superpower, I'm starting to understand my superpower is I help people win. And when you help people win, they want to do business with you. Get them a quick win. Help them go into their life and get a quick win. And the last piece, and I'm almost done here, Susie, the last piece is close with the heart. You start with the heart and you close with the heart. You close with the heart. You reinforce the importance of everything you said to them by speaking to their heart. You want to know the secret? I'm going to tell you the secret. I know some of you are a little mad because I'm only giving you one of 4 things to build your business tonight. But I promise you, if you're in Guadalajara or Monterrey, the first time that I've ever spoken in Mexico, and it won't be the last, but it is the first, I promise you, we will teach you the other 4, the other 3. But tonight, I'm giving you the most important thing that will help you advance in your career or business, and that's been responsible for me building 5 multi-million-dollar companies. It's that. It's that. And so one of the things I want to say, and I'm going to bring Susie back up here in 2 minutes, Susie, but I have been responsible for letting people at an event pitch their business. We've had pitch offs at the business at different conferences. We've done it for Damon John, who is a shark here in America. We've done it for Tony Robbins. We've done it for Grant Cardone and Elena Cardone. We've done it for Eric Worre. We've done this pitch off. And what I want you to know is what I just showed you and taught you is exactly the framework to help you pitch your business. But I'm so excited that for in Mexico, I called also with Susie, I said, would a pitch off be powerful? And also said a pitch off would be amazing. So one little segment on May 29th and May 31st will be the pitch off. There will be hundreds of people. How many of you would love to be a part of that pitch off? Like, just write the word pitch off in the chat. Just say pitch off. Like, I want to pitch my business. And what if I helped train you? What if I trained you? And what if I prepared you? I want to see that in the chat. Wow, there's fireworks. See? Look at that. I don't know how that happened. But here's what I want you to know. I want you to know that we're going to do one part of the programming. Just one part is going to be a pitch off. It's going to be a pitch off. And hundreds of you watching right now are going to get that chance. And not only JV, but Susie and also are going to be the ones who pick the first place, 10,000, second place, I think 5,000. If I'm wrong, I'm going to have to make up the difference. So I better be careful. And I think third place, $2,500. So yes, I get to speak that day and teach you how to build a business. And my friend Margarita is going to teach you how to build a business as well. But then you all who are at the event will get to see people participating in a speak off and winning it. And so, Suze, the thing I want to do, I want to make this a no-brainer, I have an unbelievable course called Communicate to Convert. It's a $500 online course that you will get access to this week that will teach you how to pitch your business. And anybody that buys any ticket in Monterrey or Guadalajara, anybody who buys any ticket in Monterrey or Guadalajara, I'm going to give you that as a gift. You will not have to pay the $500. Susie and her team will send that course out to you and you will get access to it right away, because what I taught you today is the most important thing that will help you grow your business. And then for anybody that chooses a ticket level, Susie, that is one of the pitch off ticket levels, and I don't know what all of them are. Anybody that picks a ticket level, that's the pitch off, I'm going to make sure and coach them and prepare them ahead of time to knock it out of the park in Guadalajara and in Monterrey. And so we want to be able to do something, Susie, to make this a no-brainer. I'm so excited to be there with you guys, and I hope tonight helps. Sorry, I went a little bit long. I'll make sure and watch the clock there.
Well, thank you. And I'm going to have to switch to Spanish because I can't speak in English with all of our people speaking Spanish. So thank you, Pete. Estaba un poquito celosa de Pete con sus juegos artificiales en la parte de atrás. Entonces, traigo una celebración de que todos los que están aquí en la pantalla hoy van a estar en el evento de Monterrey, Guadalajara. No solo eso, van a usar su cupón del 20% de descuento y también van a recibir este curso de más de $500 para ayudarles a ustedes a saber cómo aprovechar una plataforma para convertir a tus oyentes en clientes. Entonces, me dio mucho FOMO. Entonces, vamos a nosotros celebrar. Vamos a ver si funciona primero. No, no funciona. Ay, espera el lado equivocado. No, no funciona. All right, next one. Vamos a tratar. ¡Ah! Esa fue una celebración de haber estado con ustedes el día de hoy. Les voy a dar 2 minutos de información más y luego les voy a poner el QR aquí arriba. El pitch off. ¿Quién tiene preguntas del pitch off? Pónganme aquí en el chat. ¿Quién tiene preguntas, dudas del pitch off? Se las voy a contestar ahorita. Quiero asegurar que aquí siguen todos escuchando. ¿Tienen preguntas? Nada más, Marisa, tú y yo vamos a platicar el día de hoy, Marisa. ¿Ok? ¿Qué consiste el pitch off? Tú preparas un pitch de venta de tu propio negocio. Ese pitch de venta no lo vas a preparar solo o sola. Vamos a tener un preentrenamiento y nos va a ayudar Pete Vargas a poder desarrollar nuestro pitch de ventas. Imagínense, todo lo que aprendimos en 10 minutos de tener a Pete aquí, vamos a poder tenerlo 1 hora completa ayudándonos y entrenándonos en cómo preparar nuestro pitch de venta. Vamos a tener una selección de videos. Ustedes van a hacer su pitch de venta a una cámara, mandan el video, seleccionamos los 15 ganadores. Esos van a estar en el evento haciendo el pitch de su negocio. Posteriormente, 5 de esos 15 se van al escenario principal enfrente de 2,500 personas para poder hacer su pitch de su negocio. Y de esos 5, 3 van a ser ganadores y se van a llevar el premio. Déjame corregir lo que había dicho Pete. Son 10,000, 5,000 y 3,000 los premios del pitch off. No se pierdan la oportunidad. Va a ser un tiempo espectacular. Imagínense ustedes estar presentando un pitch de su negocio a Oso Traba. Para mí, yo estaría ahí enfrente del escenario, ¿verdad? Claro que me va a hacer pedazos, pero voy a darle mi mejor intento. Listo todos, no pudimos tener absolutamente a todos. Cuéntame del pitch. Les dije, el pitch lo van a preparar ustedes y Pete les va a ayudar. Pete les va a decir el know-how de todo. Vamos a estar mandándoles correo con información de cuándo va a ser el pitch off. Lo más probable es que vaya a ser el 21 de mayo, pero les vamos a mandar a todos los que compren boletos, les vamos a mandar la información para que ustedes puedan estar en ese preentrenamiento. No pudimos tener el día de hoy a Margarita Pasos, que sabemos que tuvo ahí un compromiso. No pudimos tener a Ed, pero nos mandó un increíble video. John Maxwell está emocionadísimo de verlos en Monterrey, Guadalajara. No puede esperar. Hablé con él hace unos días y me dijo, está emocionadísimo de estar con cada uno de ustedes. No pierdan la oportunidad de estar con nosotros, de invertir. Toma un paso. Si lo vas a hacer es hoy, 20% de descuento, 24 horas, más su bono de cómo aprovechar el escenario para convertir. Aquí está otra vez el QR. Métanse ahí y pueden aprovechar esta increíble oportunidad. Gracias a todos por estar con nosotros el día de hoy. Les ponemos un videíto ahorita antes de salir y les dejamos el QR para que ustedes puedan seguir agarrando esta imagen. Los queremos, los vemos a todos el 29 de mayo en Monterrey, el 31 de mayo en Guadalajara.
Yo digo, algunas personas son como un ascensor.
So the question is,
Así que la pregunta es,
when people get on your elevator,
cuando las personas se suben a tu ascensor,
do you take them to a higher
¿tú
level
los llevas a un nivel más alto
or do you take them
o
lower?
los llevas a un nivel más bajo?
How many of you take them higher?
¿Cuántos de ustedes los llevan para arriba? Levanta la mano. ¿Cuándo es el mejor momento para comenzar a crecer? Ayer. Pero ayer pasó. Entonces el mejor momento para crecer es hoy.
transfer to me something that you're not experiencing for real. You have to really believe it. You got to really be a crusader. You got to really understand it. When you really believe something, you can transfer that certainty to me.